Joke, guys, I'm serious on that. There's nothing wrong with people out there wanting to have, a couple of kids per family household. I've got no issues with that as long as you guys plan it properly together. Like, for an example, just say, I know it's a little bit too late for me now because I'm 43, but what I am saying is, just say I'm 25 years old. I want to settle down. I want to find a good bloke who's, got his own money. He's willing to work hard. He's willing to have only two kids maximum. I'm the type of person that would not want to have any more than two kids. I think two children, is perfect per family household. That's just my opinion. Okay, there are people out there that want to have a lot more. Well, that's fine. You want to have a lot more? Well, don't rely on the government to give you a payout. That's what I'm getting at. You need to really work hard together as a couple, which means both mother and father will have to work, obviously, especially if you're going to have more than two kids. You know what I mean? I believe that both of you should save up money, just say, for at least 5, 6 years before you dare to have your first kid together as a couple. I mean, really plan it properly. That's what I was talking about in the previous video to this one right now. I mean, seriously plan. If you're dead serious on bringing children into this weird, bizarre, fucked up world that we are living in, you've got to be willing to work extra harder than ever before, and you've got to be willing to be a good role model for both of your kids, for all your kids. If you don't want your kids smoking and doing drugs, you've got to make sure you're not smoking and doing drugs. If you want your kids to one day have an excellent education, get top grades and get a good job or become a doctor and that, you've got to lead by an example because they turn to you as a role model, as a parent. So that's how I see it. If you want to have children, fine, by all means, go for it. Knock yourself out, but plan it properly with your partner together as a team. Come up with a plan, stick to it, have everything written down, jot it down, however you want to do it, but plan together as a couple. Like it takes two to tango to bring children into this world, 50% of the responsibility is the mother's and the 50 is the father's, okay? None of this, we'll get married and then divorce in less than 5 years. That is a big no-no. I'm not down for that. That's why I don't want to ever get married with anyone because I'm thinking, what's the point? I don't want to risk getting a divorce and going through all the financial costs of that. It's not cheap, It's stupidity. If you're going to get married, well, stick together through thick and thin. Stick to the flippin' wedding vows that you guys have said to each other. Do you know what I mean? It's like, why be hypocritical? Why have double standards? Lay your cards out on the table. Say to each other earlier in the piece, just say you're starting to date and it's about 6 months into dating, right? That's when you both lay your cards out on your table and you say, well, this is what I will and will not put up with in a relationship. This is how many kids I would like to have with you. How many kids would you like to have? And discuss it real deeply, discuss it and plan things properly. You need to both be working and saving up money so that way you don't have to rely on the fucking government for one penny to go towards any of your children, to put food, clothing, a roof over their head. You need both of you as a couple have got to be willing to work extremely hard and go that extra mile for your kids and stick together no matter what. No matter what happens, I believe the couple must stick together. Okay, through the good and through the bad, through the difficult times, through the easy fly-by times. It doesn't matter. Stick together no matter what. For the sake of the kids, you got to stick together and make it work. And you've got to be willing to work hard at the relationship. If you're not, you're better off being single, being very strict with who you sleep with, even though you're single. Get the person's full name, address, and contact numbers before you dare to sleep with them. And this is for you women out there. Get your little black book and keep note of who you're sleeping with and write down the flippin' dates. I'm sick and tired of hearing those bloody horrible horror stories of these women not knowing who the father is. Come on, you've got to be more responsible. And people get real shitty with me and they don't like me because they think, oh, she's judgmental and all of that. But come on, you've got to see it from my perspective, right? I'm getting quite sick of it. And I'm getting sick of these poor kids who have parents that aren't getting on. It hurts them. What, you think children are not smart? You think they're stupid, huh? You think they don't pick up on these things? Of course they do. If you don't want to ruin your own kids' lives, I suggest you get your acts together. By all means, everyone's entitled to be in love and to find love. But don't be irresponsible about it. Use your flippin' noggin. I'm not talking about what's between your legs. I'm talking about up here. Use your noggin more than your ticker. Be guided more by your head, less by your ticker. Especially in the beginning when you're getting to know each other slowly and dating and going out and doing things. Use your fucking noggin. And stop using your genitalia too much. That's how I see it. Like sometimes you got to be stricter than ever before. And you got to these days. Come on. Look around you. Open up your eyes, people out there, especially you young teenage boys and girls who are got your hormones raging like mad and, puberty starting for you. Use your brain. Think before you act. Plan, cautiously. If you want to, have kids when you turn 25 or 24, you want to have your first kid, plan 5-6 years prior to that. So as soon as you turn 18, start saving money for about 4 or 5 years. Then when you have your first kid, you don't have to rely on the government. You got enough money. You got 5, 6, 7, 8 years worth of fucking savings, and get your partner, whoever you're with, to get them to start working and saving money too. You both will be a power couple, having kids, not relying on the fucking government for anything, and you have your own fucking money. That's how I think it should be done. That's just me. But there are people out there that just don't give a fuck. They seriously don't want to work. They're lazy-minded, not willing to get out there and look for a job. No matter how long it takes you, don't give up. You will eventually find a job. It will happen for you. But you must not give up. You must keep trying no matter how long it takes. And eventually you will win and you will get that job. But you got to believe in yourself and you got to kick yourself harder up the arse each time. And I know it can be draining and I know it can be frustrating and you get upset and it gets you down. But don't let that get you down. Never give up. Eventually you will find a job that suits you, that has a decent pay, decent contract. It will eventually happen for you, people out there. For you men and women out there, But there are women out there that don't want to work, and instead, because they know that if they have a kid for the first 6, 7 years, they don't have to look for work. That's the reason why they keep having children. Do you understand? So that way they can be a stay-at-home mum. And mind you, the fathers aren't in their lives because they're being irresponsible too, to a certain degree. And they're not willing to kick themselves up the arse. So these poor kids have no father role model in their life. And that's sad. Watch the kids who didn't ask to be brought into this world to suffer. That's not fair on the kid. And people wonder why I'm not married and don't have kids. Because I don't want to risk being an irresponsible human being, me trusting some asshole who's going to fucking turn on me, dump me with the kid all on my own. No way. If I get involved with someone, he's going to be there, if he likes it or not. I will keep him. If I have to chain him to a fucking bed, I will do what it takes for the sake of my kid. I want my kid to have their father in their life 24/7. Not only on the weekends, I mean day in, day out for the rest of my kid's life. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Oh, and another thing is, you don't have to be married to be able to have that. Why can't people just, similar to Goldie Hawn and her husband, why can't people just stick together? You don't need to get married. There's no need for that. You don't need that. You don't need a documentation to prove how much you love each other. You don't need that ring on your finger to make you feel validated. You don't need to get married. That's the whole point. Just stick together like glue. Okay? That's just my view. But, I enjoy being single. I'm happy to be single for now. And I doubt that there's any reasonable level-headed bloke out there, sadly. But that's just how I see it for now.